And we're back. Episode 10 of Morning Shoot Around, our first milestone of the show. 10 weeks, fellas. Double digits. Hot damn. Mitch Jones, welcome to the show. Good to have you on here. It's the otherwise regular cast of characters, Christian Del Bianco, who you may hear from a little bit less on this episode, and the man who built the place, Tyler Pace. We are battling through some technical issues for the time being, so Pace and Delbs are going to share a microphone for now, and we'll see how it goes. But before we get too far, as usual, we got to pay some bills. So this episode, as per usual, is brought to you by the Performance Center. And this episode is brought to you by X-Treme Threads. With over 15 years of industry-leading customer service, a local family-owned and operated business, X-Treme is your one-stop shop for all your business and team apparel needs. Specializing in custom sublimated team uniforms worn by teams and clubs around the world, contact them today to customize your team with X-Treme. I got to bring some ad reads to the broadcast for the first time over the weekend. They've never let me do an ad read live on the broadcast before, and I got to do a couple of them.
You got the promo.
So I think, maybe some of the higher ups are listening to this, and maybe they're into the ad reads.
Yeah, all I'm thinking about right now, and I'm sure Christian's thinking about it too, is that Jeff fucked us. Bezos sent us some bullshit equipment. Now we can't. Now Christian doesn't even have a mic. We gotta share a mic here. It's such bush league.
Let's look on the positive side. This is some people's dream. Just Christian can't talk.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't even defend myself.
What did you say? Sorry.
I can't even defend myself. Don't even have a mic to stand up.
He is the least funny guy on the podcast anyway, so I don't really think that's a big deal.
Yeah, you're right. People do like laughing at you, Tino.
Oh, this is outrageous. All right, Mitch Jones, welcome to Morning Shoot Around. Unfortunately, your season just came to an end, but how do you feel about the year? How's the year been for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, it came to an end. It hasn't been the greatest of years, but unfortunately, kind of a place I'm used to being in the last few years here, out of the playoffs, watching, looking in, but happy to be here.
What was... I think or from my perspective, it looked like a pretty roller coaster kind of year for you guys in the sense that you started so hot, caught a lot of people by surprise, I think, and then there was that long stretch through the winter where you guys go on the 8-game losing streak, and then, I mean, you close out the year with winning 2 of 3. Describe like what that roller coaster was like for the group. I would imagine there was a lot of emotions.
Yeah, I mean, guys who have played for a lot of years, and then it's an up and down league, no matter whether you're on an 8-game losing streak or not. Obviously had a pretty good start, and then anytime you go on 8-game skid like that, things start to get a little hectic. I mean, I will give our team credit. We got a lot of people say this, but we have a really close group of guys. Not once do we kind of waver from supporting each other and showing each other that love, and obviously trying to get out of that losing streak. And eventually we did, but just a little bit too late.
What are the emotions like in the dressing room when you do go on? Like we talked to like Eli Salama made a comment when we had him on the show about how, like when he won in his rookie year, it's kind of easy to get into that mindset of like, oh, we're gonna be the best forever, like we're gonna win all the time kind of thing. What's the opposite of that spectrum look like when you guys are in the middle of losing all these games?
Yeah,
Are we ever gonna win again?
No, yeah, that's exactly it. Like you get to I can't remember exactly what number it was, but like it's like 3. It probably starts at 2 or 3, 4, 5. So you get there and you're like, are we?
Surely enough, we play Vegas soon.
Yeah, like we must feel. And if we look around, it's like obviously our expectations were pretty high, and we have a lot of good players in that dressing room. We have a lot of good guys. We're like what is going on? Like, why can we not win? A lot of those games are close games. Some of them, okay, we didn't deserve to win. Some of them, maybe we did. We didn't get the bounces. It's just like it goes on and on. Like, what do we need to do? We're obviously looking for answers week by week. You kind of have to have a short memory in this league, but then it gets to that point where obviously we're thinking about a stretch of weeks here now, and we're trying to find a solution. You try everything. You really do. And you stick together. It brings guys closer a lot of times. And like I said, in Philly, one of the best things about being a part of that team that I found, like I went there, we have a lot of just good guys on that team, good humans. You play with a lot of guys in this league over the years, and you become really, really good friends with some of them. Some of them you're just teammates, and in Philly, it's like a lot of us are really good friends with each other, and we're in this together, obviously, and you're just looking for answers. And obviously we didn't quite find those this year. But yeah, that's kind of your mindset. It's not a great mindset to be in. Like you're with your friends, your teammates, guys you consider family, and it's just not working out.
Like with all that going on, how good did the 2 Georgia wins feel? I know they didn't really mean a ton, but it's got to be kind of like one of those things where it's like a nice little fuck you when you finally get a couple wins in a row.
Yeah, I mean, funny enough, that when we finally did win the game, I got kicked out the first shift, so I wasn't really part. I mean, I was there, but I wasn't exactly a huge part of that.
We were
win.
trying everything. We got rid of Mitch.
We were trying everything. So I mean, in my mind, I'm like, maybe we need to do that again. Maybe I don't. Like, I mean, I need not play. All kinds of thoughts go through your head. But yeah, I felt good. We Patty McCready brought in this like voodoo doll that game, and we won with it. So we're like, we need that again. Like it's that's kind of a stupid thought, but you also have some more serious ones. But yeah, you're just looking for answers. Like I said, the NLL, no matter if you win 1 game or 2 games, or you go on, it's highs and lows to begin with. That's kind of the challenge when you go into the season, to not get too high, not get so excited when you get to 5-2 or whatever it might be. But when things aren't going your way, yeah, it can the emotions can come pretty strong.
You're doing a great job holding the mic for me, Tyler. With that being said, it's not like the NHL where like you have, how many, did they play 70 games? What do they play in the NHL? 82. Like there's a lot more runway. So like if you go on one of these skids, it's easier to get yourself out, where in our league, like you can lose 7 or 8 games in a row. And even if you lose 5 in a row, and that could be your season, and you just don't have that getaway speed to get back up and catch up to everyone.
How about this past weekend for you personally? Obviously, it was your return to Vancouver, your first game in Van since you got traded a couple of years ago. Was this a game that you had circled on the calendar, or was it just kind of like it's just another game? Like I would imagine you had a ton of friends and family in the arena.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely knew when the game was at the beginning of the season, so maybe I had it circled on the calendar. It was tough because we did find out the night before that I know our chances were very low, but we did still have a chance, and then we found out the night before that it's actually 0. So, I mean, just trying to enjoy it. I spent a lot of time here, obviously from here, but I spent a lot of time playing in Vancouver, playing my heart out there, and meeting a lot of great people and teammates and fans and whatnot. So, and enjoying my time in Rogers Arena. It's pretty cool to drive down the road from where you grew up and play in front of a local fan base. And then, yeah, having family and friends. I think I gave out 26 tickets for that game. So never took that for granted when I was in the building, but really good time, or fun to play in front of my friends and family again. But like I said, a little bit tough knowing that it didn't mean anything, and then a little bit tough kind of getting the wheels beat off us. But I mean, yeah, overall, it's always enjoyable to play at Rogers Arena.
Must be pretty crazy as well to consider the comparison of, I mean, when you guys were here, I mean, like you kind of said it already earlier, like the team struggled for a while, and then kind of fast forward to present day, your first game back, and I mean, it wasn't a sellout, but still like a ton of fans. Like it must have been pretty cool, even though you're on the other side, to be able to look and see the growth of what, lacrosse has become at the professional level in Vancouver. For sure, yeah. I mean, something I always kind of hung my hat on when I left Vancouver was I was there from the beginning when they became the Warriors, and game by year, the support increased and people were more interested, and in my opinion, we slowly got better. We didn't get over the hump there, but we were improving and kind of working towards that common goal. So to see it continue to go that way is something that I support and I'm happy about.
When you got, and I don't know how the trade went down, was it a surprise to get a call like, hey, we're trading you from Vancouver to Philly, or was it something you were expecting? Like, how did that all happen?
Like yes and no. So I got a little bit of a tip off like 2 days before that, like, I think I'm getting moved. So up until that point would have been a bigger surprise, but I kind of got a little tip off, and there's rumors and stuff that I knew I would be getting moved. But then again, I got a phone call at 9 a.m. on a Tuesday telling me I'm traded, and it was a 30-second phone call. So yeah, there's a little bit of a shock value in that for sure.
Did Elliot Frickman give you the tip off?
No.
Shadamas, he's everywhere.
He did. He should have if he knew. I thought he would tell me that kind of stuff. I woke up that morning and I called my dad and I said, hey, I heard think I might be getting moved, and it kind of made sense. We were 0-, we didn't have a good record. I called him to ask him, hey, do you think I should call them and say, hey, can I maybe have a say in this or not? And as I was on the phone with him asking this, I got the call. So I didn't get a chance to do that.
And that's the second time you've been moved. You started in Buffalo. then go to Vancouver.
Technically a third because I got drafted by Washington. I think I played one game there, and then I got traded to Buffalo. And then after my years in Buffalo, I asked to get traded to Vancouver when I knew they were having time. So that was a much different experience. So it's the first time I've been traded in season, and first time I've been traded without kind of knowing or driving the bus on it.
Sure. And in Buffalo, you started out as like a D-tranny player. Talk a little bit about, because you played with some pretty good players there. So talk a little bit about like that transition or that start to your career where like now you're scoring 100+ points a year, but you started as a D guy. Like how was that transition? Why were you put in that situation? How did that all work?
Yeah, I had a great time playing defense. I think it was really good for my development. I think, I came out of junior as a hotshot junior guy getting 100 points in junior, and obviously had the expectation that I'd be able to play offense in the NLL, but it's a different world. You're playing against men. I think when I played in Washington, I was playing offense, but back then there was extra roster spots. So basically I was just a grocery stick sitting there playing with some good players there as well. When I got to Buffalo, I could tell, they traded for me. They wanted me. I could tell they're excited about me. I played a little bit of offense. And pretty early on, they called me in and said, "Hey, do you want to play?" I literally asked me, "Do you want to play lacrosse?" And I was like, "Yes, I would love to play lacrosse." And they're like, "Okay, can you play defense?" And I was thinking, I honestly was thinking, I was like, "Can I?" And I was like, "I don't think I ever have." I was like, "When's the last time I played defense was in Pee Wee lacrosse?"
Yeah,
but
up,
I was
down, off.
Yeah, but I was obviously like, yes, I can. I want to play. I just answered the question. So okay, you're on defense, and I was lucky enough to. I played every single defensive shift with Billy D. Smith. He taught me a lot, and it also helped that he was threatening people and they're scared shitless of him. And I got to go out there and not play as much defense, scoop up a loose ball and run. But yeah, I had a lot of good experiences there. I think I learned a lot about, I could tell where I was getting beat. I could tell how these guys were manipulating me and where it was tough to cover guys. And I think that I learned a lot from that for sure.
At what point after that, how soon after that do they send you back out the O gate?
It took a while. It was 3 years. I have another good memory. So we were playing in Saskatchewan. They're the perennial powerhouse at the time. We're up and coming. We got a lot of good young players and good vets as well. We go down. I don't know the exact score, but we were down by almost 10 goals. It was either 8, 9, or 10 goals at halftime. And I'm playing defense. We end up finishing the game. We win in overtime. I scored 5 goals out of the back door that game. Okay, so I'm happy with myself. Happy we won. I get to Tuesday practice. They call me in the office again, and they're like, "You want to play some offense?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Too bad, you're still on D. Get out for practice." It's John Tavares, so Troy Corley, and Chugger, and I'm like, "Okay, see you out there." And I played another year of defense, but so that doesn't answer the question. It took 3 years.
Troy was probably,
he was.
We got him.
Yeah, they got me. They did get me because I was 5, just scored 5. I'm gonna set the power play. I think I'm setting the power play next game. How could I not? And they got me good. But
that's so good.
Oh my god. Going back to your time in Philly, especially this year, you got a chance to play with Brandon O'Neill, who is likely going to be in the running for Rookie of the Year. How? First of all, what was it like playing with him? What was he like in training camp, kind of absorbing everything? I don't know how much box experience he had before this, but what were your first impressions of him early in the year?
The first impression of Brandon is just how he's a stud athlete. He's 240 pounds. He's 6'2". He has a crazy first step. He can shoot the ball. That was kind of the first impression. My second impression was how out of box shape he was at our first training camp. He was sucking wind, and I was obviously closely working with him, and I was working overtime because I had to keep going over these shifts. And I was like, "Brendan, you got to go." And he's like, "Oh, no, I'm tired." But he improved that very quickly. But no, Brendan's been awesome. He's a guy who's going to continue to get better and better. There's obviously a learning curve. I've been in the position where, when Josh Byrne was picked first overall, I worked with him closely, and other high draft picks. He's a little bit different because he doesn't have that box experience. But he's been around the game. He's watched NLL. He's played a little bit when he was younger. Funny story, in an article, he credited Robbie Campbell as a guy who taught him how to play box cross, who's a guy I grew up down the street from, and he moved to Long Island. He went to Stony Brook, moved to Long Island, and somehow they connected through. He was coaching a program there. So there's little things like that we can connect on. And no, he's going to be a good player for a very long time in this league. And first impression, just kind of how big a beast he is. And then as the year goes on, I mean, he scored some crazy highlight goals this year. He's a guy who's has all the talent in the world and all the skills to be a very good player in this league.
Aside from, I mean, like getting in more box shape and stamina, I guess, what do you think the biggest development for him was come the end of the season compared to when he first got underway?
I think it's just finding. I'm a big basketball guy, so I have a lot of my threes are it's like finding your spots. Like, and obviously, and I don't know if I go out in a field across field, I'm probably not going to find my spot. It's going to take me a while, right? And he's the opposite. So finding his spots on the turf in the NLL, where he's going to be successful, where he can manipulate defenders, where he's going to find space. Like even week 1 and 2, he was taking some big hits because he didn't really know, and then he figured that out pretty quickly. That's an easy one. Like, hey, I don't want to get hit like that anymore, so I'm going to find some other spots to go to. But I think that's it. Just finding where he's going to be successful, what his skill set helps him be good at in the NLL. And I think, he's well on his way. He's, like you said, he's going to be in the Rookie of the Year running, and he scored some big time goals for us this year. And I think another thing I noticed about him, when you meet him, he's just such a specimen. Like, he's 22 years old. Like, you kind of think he's like, oh, you're like, this is a grown man. But then you have to, he's actually a 22-year-old kid who just left college and still has some things to learn. Like, we've all been there.
On the other side of the floor, an American who has figured it out, like probably
Years
the best, years and years ago. Joey Rez scores 350, his 350th goal, sets a franchise record in points. Like, I've heard you talk about him a little bit, and Delbs alluded to it last week, how he's sort of like a rink rat, just loves the game. But like, talk a little bit about playing with him, like what he's like around the rink, around the room, and like how he's been as successful as he has, because it's insane that this, American guy who, you don't think guys like that can ever get to this point. But he's breaking records that they might not get touched by any other American ever, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, he's on an incredible pace and still doing it. Like, he's not slowing down. He's obviously a guy who loves the game. He grew up around in Buffalo, which is obviously close to Canada, so he had a head start learning the game there. I know his older brother trailblazed a bit for him, playing MSL and NLL and all that stuff. Rezi, he's got a contagious energy to him. Like, he's a guy, he's texting you every day, all week. Like, I have to apologize to him every week. I'm like, I can't answer you all day, every day, like about lacrosse. But I obviously love talking to him. But he's a guy who's always thinking the game, always wants to get better, always wants to know what's going to help the team, what can we do this week? And that's contagious. That's something I like doing as well. And I think we've had a pretty good partnership on the floor, kind of working towards a common goal that way.
And then, like, one more, I mean, you guys have a lot of Americans, I guess, but another American that's that you got to play a couple games with this year, Michael Sowers, comes in. I think a lot of people, like, we talked about him a little bit a few episodes ago. Maybe I was after his debut, but I think a lot of people were a little concerned to see, like, how he was going to fare just because of his injury history. And I know he ended the year on the IR, but what did you see from him? Like, he seems like a super speedy guy, like another guy with that kind of quick first step. Do you think that he has, does he even want a longer future in the NLL?
Yeah, no, I think he's all into play. From what he's told me, he's a guy I think Paul Day had his eye on for a while. He lives in Philly. He's a Philly born and bred guy. He loves the city and wanted to play for Philadelphia. When we first got him, he showed up to practice and we were like, oh, we just got the best player on our team. Like, he's the most talented player on our team. He's roasting our defenders. Like, we're like we'll write up a play, just like roast a guy underneath and scores. We're like, okay, maybe just change the play to that. But he's obviously a smaller guy. The speed he moves at is incredible. Like, when it comes to his injuries, that guy's just moving faster than anyone. So anytime he gets hit, it's like the collision is at a higher speed. I've never
Formula One.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, we've never seen an accident this bad in our life.
That's like if I had to say when I'm gonna hit, it's like a slow moving demolition derby where it's like, oh, that's fine. Like, he's gonna be fine.
You're Owen Barker and the big
I'm
rig.
Owen Barker out there just getting like a tap on the back and he's flying around the racetrack. Like, you're like, okay, that's gonna hurt.
But even for like a guy like Brendan O'Neill, who's like this massive human being where you're like, there's no way like anyone could hit this. Like, there's other big human beings on the floor. And I think for these big like American field guys, like no matter how big, how fast you are, like it's a different style of contact in box lacrosse compared to the field games. So it's definitely an adjustment, I think, for some of them.
For sure. And I watch a little. There's big hits in field too, but it's just a different. They're not shift by shift. You're not getting pounded every shift like you are in.
Not getting mauled.
Yeah.
Just squashed a bug. No. Squashed it.
Wow.
Sorry.
Live on the show.
Yeah.
Back at it with
I just
animal
love it.
abuse.
The mic pass.
I thought it was like, give me the mic now. I was like, oh, sorry, Tyler.
The man who built the place. Mitch, for you personally, this was a contract year. You're an unrestricted free agent, I guess, I don't know, coming off season. Does that add any, or do you feel any added pressure on a year like that when, I mean, obviously your resume speaks for itself, but, you know, everyone's trying to get their bag at the end of this, and when it is a contract year, maybe that adds a little bit more.
Your bag. Hey, have you looked at the NLL contract?
The NLL comparison.
NLL bag.
Gino's been trying to get a bag for a couple of years now.
No,
Ad space available.
I mean, it's something you're aware of. Like, I know what contract I signed and when it's going to come up, but it's not like a part of the motivation, I wouldn't say. It's you're thinking about a whole list of things before that. And even, I mean, as the years come to an end and as we're on an 8-game losing streak and it looks like we're not going to be in the playoffs, I have family, friends, teammates, ex-teammates start to ask me about this. And it's really not something I started to think about until this week kind of thing. And I have a lot of time, so it's not something I'm stressed over or really thinking about. I think if I started having a bad few weeks, I'm thinking about a lot of things other than I'm not getting that NLL bag next year. like there's a lot of things coming through my head before that. Yeah, I think that answered the question.
Okay, let's. I want to go down your resume here a little bit because you are both a Mann Cup champion and a Minto Cup champion,
And a President's Cup.
and a President's Cup
President's.
champion. We'll get there as well. That's the next thing down on my notes. But I looked up the roster for both of these teams, the Orangeville Northman team that you played for, that you won a Minto Cup, and then as well the Shamrocks from 2015. Some pretty unreal rosters that you played on. What do you remember about? We'll start with the Minto Cup. Like, what do you remember about that? It's 2012, if I remember correctly. Right?
2012, yeah. I mean, that was, if not the best moment of my lacrosse career, definitely one of the most memorable. I grew up in Delta. The Delta Junior program historically has not been that successful. I watched my older brother. Their kind of model for their program is, okay, we'll trade our top players away at their last year or two, and that'll kind of support our team. So I watched him go through that. He ended up going to Six Nations, winning a Minto Cup, and then Brampton playing another one. And so I watched a lot of the Eastern Junior, and just in my opinion, I was like, there's so many good players out here. This is a good league. This is, if I want to be the best cross player, I want to go play in the best league. So I had it pretty early on in my junior career kind of that I wanted to do that. And I was available to do that because I was in Delta, and they were open to trading me and letting me go down that route. Coming to Orangeville, I mean, that roster was stacked. Like, at the time, I guess I didn't even really know. I knew it was a really, really good team, but I didn't know that there was going to be 13 NLL players on that team. And we had some great it's not like we ran away with it. Like, there was other really good teams in the East and in the West that year. But a lot of good memories out there. The Orangeville way was basically just, if you're not trying to be the hardest working guy on the floor, you're no good to us. So I embraced that and loved the way that was explained to us, and got to be a part of it and got to win a Minto Cup.
And then how about that experience in the Minto Cup itself? I was looking over the like kind of some of the game sheets in preparation for this. You guys won against Coquitlam, and you guys won both games in the finals. And I mean, the first game was pretty out of hand. It was like 19-9 or something like that. The game 2 was a little lower scoring, but you guys still had a pretty good showing, I guess we could say. But what do you remember about the Minto Cup experience itself?
From a personal standpoint, I mean, again, going back to growing up in Delta, I have, if I'm counting correctly, 12 silver medals to Coquitlam. They were the best team every year, and we were like a clear second. Like, the final game was never within 5 or maybe even 10 goals, but we came second every year. So for me to, my last year junior, know that I'm on a very good team and playing against Coquitlam, not that I needed any extra help to get out for that game. I was excited to play that game. And that's kind of what I remember, and being able to beat those guys that a lot of those guys bullied me. Like I didn't hit puberty till I was in midget, and these bantam kids, they knew we weren't a good team, and they knew I was one of the better players, and they would just bully me. So for me to come full circle and have the chance to compete against those guys was pretty special.
Was it in Coquitlam or in Orangeville?
I was in Whitby.
Whitby.
Yeah, and Whitby was the other team. So Whitby's the team that I think we played them probably 3 or 4 times in their season. We had a 5-game series. We went like 9-1 against them that year, but we beat them by 1 goal like 8 of those times. So it was like you look at that roster too, they had a lot of NL players and a lot of really, really good players. So we kind of got through them. Not that we let our foot off the gas, but we beat them in overtime. Rob Hellier scored an overtime goal in the last game of the round robin to give us the bye to the final. And we kind of were like, okay, that now we can look ahead to that. But that was a big challenge before getting to the finals.
So safe to say then, in like this past Minto, for example, Orangeville Coquitlam final, you're rooting for Orangeville in that case.
Yeah, I'm not that vocal about it, but because I've since made a couple good friends who are from Coquitlam.
He's wearing like black and white face paint, double bird to me and Christian.
I've been to 2 Minto Cups. In the one in Langley where Pacer was out there dominating. I was a little more vocal in that one, cheering for Orangeville, and they let me down.
Like the lead singer of Kiss.
They let me down a little bit.
Gene Simmons over here.
This year, I also went to go watch one game in Coquitlam, and yeah, I was cheering for Orangeville. But,
okay, and then we move over to the Mann Cup 2015. You end up in Victoria, and if I'm not mistaken, that was the last time that a Western team has won the Minto, or not the Minto, the Mann Cup in general.
You're correct.
That's
not mistaken.
Unbelievable. What do you What do you remember about that series? That's another one. I was watching some of the broadcasts back in preparation for this, and I watched the final game as well, and. Like, I mean, it feels like any game in general when, like, Sean Evans is on the floor, for example, like, it's going to get pretty feisty, but that looked like it was a pretty electric environment in Victoria.
Yeah, Victoria. I mean, sold up barn in Victoria. Those people care a lot. That was a long time coming, too. We had built our way up there. We had lost to Peterborough. Then we lost to Six Nations. And then we got a chance to see Peterborough again and went to 6 games with them. And, yeah, I mean, that another stacked roster that I was lucky enough to play on as a young kid and senior and learn a crazy amount from those guys on that team and learn how to win and learn what it takes to win a Mann Cup and against some Sean Evans and all his theatrics and all that. So, yeah, that was a very fun series. 6 games straight, sold out in front of your home crowd. I had family come over and watch from the mainland. So, yeah, very good experience there as well, and lucky to be a part of that.
You actually, I mean, you got to end up being a teammate of Sean Evans in Vancouver. Was that the only time that you had played with him?
No, I've been a teammate.
You guys played together?
We played together in Buffalo and in Vancouver.
What a combo.
Vancouver was... Evie came to Vancouver off of a broken leg in like the Mann Cup that year. He showed up. He was...
suing the borough.
Yeah, after... that was it. So then he comes to Vancouver. I'd played with him. Like, he's a hell of a player. It's like we needed a guy like Sean Evans on our team. He can't run. He shows up, he literally can barely walk. And he's telling the trainers, like, they're like, you can't go. And he's like, no, I'm going. Like, he's like losing it. Steve Ma, I don't know if you guys know Steve Ma. He's an older Asian gentleman who knows a lot and is very experienced in his job. And they get in a FU match. Like, I'm going on the floor right now. So
like, I'm fine.
So,
sir, you're in a civil lawsuit with the city of Peterborough right now. We can't let you touch the turf.
So sure enough, Evie gets his way. He's out there before he should be. And we got along, but there was one time, so I don't know who we were playing, but they had the scouting report that he had a broken leg. And every time he touched the ball, they were triple teaming him, like at center. And so, like, this is early in the game. I'm like, Evie, like, go to the corner. We'll get you the ball. Like, don't go get the ball. We'll get it to you, and you'll be fine down there. And he starts screaming. He's like, you don't think I can have the ball anymore? I'm like, no, that's not what I said. Like, I'm just trying. I want to get you the ball. Like, anyways. I think he lasted. That was the year I got traded, so he lasted longer.
He outlasted you.
Yeah, he outlasted
said,
me.
we gotta get rid of this guy. He's not giving me the ball. Evie's the man, though. Like, there's a lot of Evie stories like that, right? Where he was just a gamer, and even seeing him out in the President's Cup this last summer was just
balling
hilarious.
out still. And,
yeah, and like still like going at Rory, like just like all time. Like, the rivalry just never died. Those two guys are in their 40s now, just screaming at each other.
Yeah, maybe we'll sneak in a couple Evie stories as we go here, but we could spend a whole hour on Evie stories, I'm sure.
I heard someone say not that long ago, actually, that maybe it was a ref or something like that. They said it was easy to tell in a game when Sean Evans didn't want to be there anymore. Like he would go and say something stupid, do something stupid solely for the purpose of being ejected from the game.
I mean, Evie does not like to lose. So if it's coming down to that, yeah, he's going to let it be known that we're done here.
Wrap it up.
Okay, let's go and take a look over at the President's Cup from this past summer, because you found yourself playing for your hometown Ladner Pioneers alongside the two guys beside you here on the couch. How long was the pitch to get you to play Senior B that year? Like, was it a big pitch? Like, was there any convincing that needed to be in? Because previously you were the captain for the Bellies in Senior A. Like, what was that discussion like to get you to come over and play Senior B?
How do I tell this story shortly? Something that I've talked about. Greg Rennie is a guy. He's a local Ladner guy who I grew up. He was my coach growing up, and he's a big part of that team. And we've always kind of talked about, like, one day I'm going to play Pioneers. Like, it's going to be whether it's when I'm 35 or 40 or whatever. And then the way it shook out, I mean, with the Mann Cup being in the East, with me being suspended 8 games, a few other things, it wasn't that big. With my brother, potentially getting to play with my older brother Jason again. I mean, seeing the talent that was on that team and it being my hometown team and hosting the President's Cup, it all kind of just fell in line. And I was, I didn't think I needed too much convincing to join these guys there.
Yeah, I think the best part of bringing Jonesy on was, like, we were having like an argument, okay, like, what NLL player do we have to cut so that we can bring Jonesy on? Like, we were letting go of NLL players because they had the 5-player rule. And so, well, it's Jonesy. Like, we'll make space. Like, somebody will have to go play Senior A next summer.
Someone will have to. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like cutting NLL players up. We were like cutting them up. Like, you got to go play for Coquitlam next year. Like, sorry, bud.
So you're too good for Senior B.
Yeah. It's literally like you're not good enough for Senior B at that point.
I've got a shift in that year that I will never forget. We're in Victoria. We're very shorthanded. Like, we
had like 14 people.
We just have like
not even.
And we got 2 injuries early on. We were very shorthanded, and we're out there, and I'm like running up and down the floor. I go back and play a shift of D. It's just a simple guy over top, and I didn't get out quick enough. And Dubs is very demanding of his defenders. So as soon as the guy shoots over me and scores, I look back at Dubs. I'm like, hey, like, I'll get out next time. And Dubs looks at me, he goes, no, it's because we had to cut guys, and you and Benny are here on offense.
Yeah, no, it's because him and Benny, like, Benny insists on having to play defense. Like, Benny, like, you've had like a whole 30-second clock's gone by. You could have got off the floor. No, I gotta get. And then he goes and finds the most athletic person, gets skinned underneath, and just starts laughing at you.
I was so tired, and I was just trying to be like, my fault. I was like, we'll get the next one, and he just yelling at me. He's like,
this is why we needed Jeff. This is why we needed Jeff.
That's what he said. You're like, this is why we needed Jeff Cardinal. We had to get, or like, yeah.
Yeah, we haven't lost a game in 2 years. He gets scored on one time in Victoria when we're like, we can't even breathe. Like, we legit aren't coming off the floor, and he getting pissed off. Like, it's just ridiculous.
In their defense, that was the game I think Corbett got smoked from behind into the boards.
Yeah, and we had 1 or 2 other injuries. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rat. Yeah.
Wow.
And we were already shorthanded.
How cool was it for you as a Ladner guy to see the environment in Ladner for the President's Cup this year?
So cool. I mean, I grew up watching the junior team. I played a little bit for the junior team, and the one corner has always been where your friends come and sit. They always sit in the same corner. I think Coquitlam has the same kind of thing. Like, so I knew that people would come, and then seeing it fully packed and us winning and Panache running straight into the crowd of the cup. Like, no, very, very cool. And I think, I mean, I grew up in North Delta. I consider myself a Ladner guy. My parents moved there. Most of my friends who I grew up playing lacrosse with are from Ladner. And yeah, super, super cool. And not a lot of experiences I've had like that, like winning. I won the Mann Cup and the Minto Cup, different areas. Got to engage in those communities and was obviously so proud of that too. But being in Ladner with the people that you kind of grow up around and who have been watching you for a long time was definitely very special.
What is it about the President's Cup or Senior B lacrosse that is so special in the community of Ladner? Like, these guys have talked about how, you know, you go and you play and you kind of learn as you go, like what this trophy means to this community. What is it that makes it so special to Ladner?
I mean, there's just a long history of lacrosse players going through there, playing for their hometown. Ladner's not a very big town, right? So you don't have to drive very far to come to the arena, and people are there and supporting it. Just what I said, just having everyone. I could have looked around in the stands and probably know over 50%, maybe even more than that, of the people by name in the stands. So that's a cool part of it, and just the support you get from that.
Okay, so something that Pace, you and Mitch, I'd like to hear both you guys talk about this a little bit. There is a rumor that I've heard about a meeting that you two had to have, I don't know, to get on the same page or to figure out some differences. I don't know. Mitch, maybe we'll start with you. What is the memory of this said meeting?
The meeting. From my point of view, it was a lot of outside noise. Like, obviously, me and Tyler are leaders on the team and playing offense together. And was it a cold streak? There wasn't even really a problem, but we just knew we had to ramp it up. There's better competition coming. We have to be on the same page. And Tyler had obviously been there for a number of years. And I'm a guy who's very vocal. And I think, honestly, I was thinking about this the other day. I think just some of our terminology was like just different from what we know. We're basically saying the exact same thing, but looking back, I was saying a different thing, but in my mind, I was saying the same thing. So I think Tyler was like, "Can this guy shut the fuck up? Like why is he?" And then in my mind, I was like, "Dude, I'm saying the same. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm literally just saying." So I think we had a little bit of disconnect there, and then it didn't help. Like I said, some side noise. Like our coaches are like, "Do these guys hate each other? Like what? Like what's going on?" And it just kind of came to the point. Like, it's summer ball. You're kind of just showing up to the rink. I mean, I'm getting to know these guys. I'm getting to know everyone at the same time. I'm not like focused on Tyler. I'm sure he's not focused on me. It just got to the point where we're after game 2 of the President's Cup. I think we lost the first game of the President's Cup. Second game. So we lost the second game of the President's Cup. And I think we were both just kind of like, hey, like let's make sure we're on the same page. Let's have a sit down. We need to maybe talk about this. And then you can take it from there.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of outside noise. It's a lot of also just like I had been there for a couple of years. That was the third year, and when we first kind of went there, it was like teaching people how to like run a basic system right at the beginning, because it's senior B lacrosse. Like it's not NLL. The X's and O's aren't at the same level. So it was like teaching basic concepts that I kind of have picked up on from my experiences in the NLL. And so it was like these terms and these specific words that we're using is what like the true senior B guys, the Ryan Keiths, the Spencer Bromleys of the world, like this is what they know. You know what I mean? Because they've learned it over the 2 years that we've been together. And then when Mitch came in, what he's saying is true. It's like he's saying the same thing, but the terminology is different. And then there was like confusion. And it was like, why are we confused? And so me and Mitch are both like, why is anybody confused? Because we're saying the same thing, but also like, let's figure this the fuck out, basically. So then we have this meeting after game 2, and we hash it out, you know, guys are saying things, whatever. And then Mark Yingling. So we end up sorting it, and all is forgiven. When you win, all is forgiven. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But Mark Yingling in this meeting, and it's like me and Mitch Jones are like figuring out how him and I are kind of gonna kind of like get along for the rest of this President's Cup and like lead our team to victory in a sense. And Mark kind of like, it's just us two at the end. Like everybody else kind of leaves, and then me and Mitch are in there, and Mark stays. He's like, guys, he's like, I feel like you've been like personally attacking me. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, like Tyler, you told me after a timeout, like why, or I came on the floor and then we came to the bench and you said like, why the fuck is Mark on the floor right now? I was like, yeah, because it was like a timeout. There's specific people that are supposed to be on the floor, and Mark Yingling is not the guy. Like, yeah, why were you on the floor?
Mark brought us together. That's the way it was. Like, yeah. We were having a pretty serious conversation, and then Mark was like, "I need to talk to you guys," and we're like, "Okay, let's talk." And he just was making us. We weren't laughing at the time, but it was pretty funny what he was saying.
Yeah, and then Mitch is like, "Do you know that like when I first got in the league, like John Tavares was telling me to shut the fuck up and like what the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll never forget when I didn't pass the ball to Curtis Dixon and I got reamed out all the way to the bench." And he's like, "Oh really?" I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, guys, like, sorry I brought this up. And then he just left. But that was so good, the Mark Yingling part of that story.
I think one of the interesting dynamics for me and Tyler, like you said, he had been there for 2 years before and they had won. And then I show up and I know these guys from like Pee Wee lacrosse. So I'm obviously comfortable with them. And he was kind of one of the guys that I didn't know as well, but I respected him and was listening to everything he said. And then it kind of just developed where I was like, sometimes I was helping, sometimes I thought I was helping. And we just hadn't really like sat down and been like, this is what we're going to accomplish together. And it took us till after game 2 of the President's Cup to kind of really do that.
Yeah, I'm really glad that Tyler mentioned the Mark thing, because I just remember like the D guys, we kind of have like our little debrief after the game. We hear the O guys are doing it. We're like, okay, about time. Like, this is good. O guys funnel in, and I forget who's sitting with me, and we're just kind of like, where's Mark? And then like they're like, oh, he stayed in the room. I was like, why would Mark be in the room with them right now? And sure enough, it was like, hey, I'm just like trying my best here, guys.
For those that don't know Mark, he's like a really talented guy, but he doesn't necessarily like get all the plays that we get.
Yeah.
He's a young kid. And we're all in that position, but he's a very talented guy who has helped us. But when me and Tyler would give him different terminology, he would be like, "What are you guys talking about?" Like,
and he just like took it to heart. Like, I think some of the younger guys that like they said that have played in that, like even like Hayden Dixon's not always the best with plays, right? But like he's like used to like the way Tyler communicates. He's used to the way like a Mitch Jones communicates, where these intense personalities. So he's not like thinking like, this guy doesn't like me.
Hato will also, like, if I'm yelling at him, he'll just like look at me and then I'll score 2 shifts later and be like, yeah, like, see that? Like, I was like, yeah, you're good. Like,
Oh my God, Canucks fans are just like wishing that this is how like the JT Miller, Elias Pettersson thing would go. Just like sit down and figure it out. Okay. I have in the notes here to talk about some collegiate stuff. I couldn't find it. Like, did you play lacrosse collegiately anywhere? Like, I know you played Division I hockey. I have that here. But did you play field anywhere, like growing up or collegiately?
I played 2 games in Division II club in some league in Michigan. I don't know what it was called, but other than that, no.
So no scouting report after that? Or?
I sprained my ankle in one of the games and came back preseason, and my hockey coach told me, don't ever fucking touch your lacrosse again while you're here. So, okay.
So you played Division I hockey at Northern Michigan. Is that correct?
Correct.
Was there any chance? I mean, like Division I is no joke. Like, was there any chance of you pursuing hockey in any capacity?
Yeah. I mean, I did my 4 years there. I did 4 years of junior, 4 years of college hockey. I've been playing hockey every day of my life for a long time. I definitely kicked tires to go play somewhere else. I think the turning point, after my sophomore year, I was told, or I figured out that it's sports specific, so I could play in the NLL and play college hockey, which I previously didn't know. So I would, after my sophomore year of hockey, I would fly out to Washington, then Buffalo, to go finish the year with NLL teams. So I kind of got my feet wet before I was done my hockey career, and that kind of swayed me to kind of being all in on the NLL. When I did finish my hockey career, I kicked some tires with the East Coast League and with the European leagues. Nothing was really that great a deal. I played with a lot of hockey players who would end up in the East Coast League, and every single one of them told me, like, this is not a fun time. Like, and then everyone I knew in the NLL was like, this is pretty fun. So that was kind of in a nutshell.
Where in Europe were you, like, I don't know, maybe going to play, like, if you were kicking tires on places?
So, yeah, when you're in university, you're not allowed to have an agent, but you can have I forgot the term. It's like a special advisor or something. An advisor, I think it's like. Yeah, so I had an advisor who, it was like the Swedish second or third leagues, German second or third leagues, and you kind of go down from there. But I signed a contract in the East Coast League. That was kind of what I thought I might want to do. And then I talked to a lot of people, and they're like, it's terrible. I wish I remember the guy's name. He was Bobby Orr's D partner for a long time. He coached, I don't even remember the team, but he coached in some. I also looked up.
That's what he told you.
No, he was. No, he was. No,
I
he
used
was.
to play Bobby Orr.
He coached in the East Coast League. I looked it up. He did. I then looked up the city that it was in, and the first thing that came up was it was the fattest city in America. And I was like, I don't know. That doesn't sound like.
Good thing I have the mic right now, not Tyler. Otherwise, there was a joke coming.
I then chose to go to Buffalo instead. So, yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Yeah. The only sidetrack story here, like, I don't know, 1 year I feel like Chris Corbeil did that, where he was older.
Yeah.
And I guess he was like taking like some sort of postgraduate thing at U of T or something. So he's the captain of the Rush playing on the university hockey team.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, like, we're trying to like repeat a championship here and you're skating around.
I continue to play a little beer league. I try and keep it quiet because I'll when I was in Vancouver, I'd go skip out on a late Monday night ASHL game in Burnaby, and like I'm like I don't know if I should really be here, but
This coming summer, you're back in the WLA then?
I believe so. Yeah, it's looking like I'll be back in a Bellies uniform.
What are you giggling about that for?
Breaking news.
Yeah, hopefully I am. I don't know.
It's summer ball. I mean, the season's what, 3 weeks away?
It's going to be tough with the Mann Cup in the East, right, Tyler?
It's a long travel.
I thought about not playing after I heard that. So like, this guy, I got to go out there with Pacer again. He doesn't even know where the Cup is.
He's going to be arguing about plays with me. He doesn't even know where we're playing tonight. Showed up in Burnaby.
I need Mark Yingling to be my special advisor.
We'll figure it out.
What about this 8-game suspension that you mentioned? Like, is this do you still have to serve this suspension? Like, if you didn't play Senior A last year?
No, I served it. So it's Canada-wide suspension. So I served it in Senior B. I had to miss the first 8 games there.
He was really bummed.
No, I was. I wanted to play.
He went to Greece.
I went to Greece. Yeah.
Poor guy.
I brought my lacrosse stick to Greece. I kept my touches up, but no, I served my 8-game suspension. Although I'm gonna get in trouble here, aren't I? Although
we can cut it if we need.
Although when I got suspended, it was like 4. What was it? It was like 4 months later. They just like called me like, yeah, you're suspended indefinitely. I was like, what? For what? Like, what are you talking about? And that's I'll leave it there maybe, but that was a long process to get it from indefinite to 8. I got it. Yeah.
Now it's definitely 8.
No, it was. Well, I don't know. It might.
He served the 8 either way.
It was indefinitely. Then it was 6, and then they're like, actually, we're just adding another 2. Like, so
8 to life.
Yeah, could be.
You're done when we say you're done.
I think I'm unsuspended now.
You think?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Do you guys have anything Mitch Jones specific before we move on to some post-interview stuff?
No.
The silence is deafening.
No, do you?
What 2 celebrities would you have dinner with?
2 celebrities I've dinner with. Shaq. I go for dinner with Shaq, and he's like the size of 2 guys.
That's why?
No. I'm thinking of a second one.
Have you ever seen a picture of Shaq and The Rock next to each other?
No, I haven't.
The Rock looks like a
tiny.
little boy compared to Shaq.
It's maybe similar to a gorilla and a grizzly bear?
No.
The Grizzlies gonna kill the gorilla.
Nobody is on my side with this, man. That's devastating.
In a second.
Sorry.
Anyone. Like Dua Lipa, somebody like that. Like, I don't know. Like,
it would be Nelly Corda. She's my celebrity crush. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
You know, golfer.
Gotcha.
Smooth swing on her.
Yeah,
You're a big time golfer too, aren't you?
I like golf a lot. Yeah.
Somebody, who was it that was telling the story about there is some like Dave Sheldon? Yeah, Delbs.
Yeah, the Dave Sheldon story. Me and Jonesy were talking about it before. About I guess the Warriors had a golf tournament, and it was the players' responsibility to film like at least one hole for media and stuff like that. And it was Jonesy's turn, and Davey Sheldon, sure enough, gets a hole-in-one, and you cut over, and Jonesy doesn't have it.
Yeah. Davey Sheldon's the ops guy for the Warriors, and he was there when I was there, and he's a great guy. He does a lot for the team, and he made it very clear. He put this whole golf tournament together. The Warriors were still pretty new, and they were a great event. We get out there, he sets everything up. He's got prizes. He made it very, very clear that so everyone's designated one person, and you film their par 3 shot for the media girls or the media team so that they can put together a montage. We didn't think anyone was going to get a hole-in-one. So as the day goes on, I think Dave Sheldon was my guy. I'm supposed to film everything he does. I filmed the first 2 or 3 par 3s. On the next one, he hits a hole-in-one, and I'm not filming. And he turns around and looks directly at me. I'm like, I pull my phone out. I'm like, run to the hole. Like, let's go. So I get a video of him running to the hole and getting his ball. Didn't get a video of the shot. He'll never forgive me.
That's why he got traded.
That's one of the reasons I got traded. Yeah.
I was in Vancouver for like one practice, and it came up. I was like, yeah, this one time Jonesy didn't film me hitting a hole-in-one.
I think it's better without it because he's a pretty good golfer, but ugly swing on him. So it's better that it went in hole-in-one. That's a fact.
It came up at the sports bar on Saturday night. Somebody was talking about Davey golfing, and I said, oh, I heard he's a stick. And then they're showing me like videos of him in the golf sim. It's not pretty. He hits it straight, but
it looks like
me swinging a club.
Okay, Pace, do you want to get some recaps underway here? What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Dubs, I guess since you have no mic, you're in charge of the button again. Hey. No, it's
Blue.
the bottom.
Bottom blue.
Yeah, there you go. Pace whenever you're ready.
Hold on. Yeah. Week 21 in the NLL. We start in Ontario, where the Rock faced off against the Thunderbirds, who were looking to clinch a home playoff game. Bobo opened the scoring on the power play as Halifax came out flying, dominating early and taking a 4-1 lead into the second quarter. Playing for pride, Toronto battled back, narrowing the gap to just one. CEO Josh Dowick scored twice, and King of the Cavs Chris Boucher netted 5, but it wasn't enough as Dawson Thede's career-high 10-point performance sealed the win for Halifax and put the final nail in Toronto's 2025 season. Thunderbirds 16, Rock 9. Off to the Sin City, where Calgary was looking for a crucial win to boost their playoff chances. Early on, it looked like smooth sailing as they took a 9-4 lead into the locker room at halftime. But with nothing to lose, the Dogs went all in with a 2-man press just as Calgary took their foot off the gas. What seemed like an easy win turned into a tense final 15 minutes until Jesse King sealed the deal late. Roughnecks 12, Desert Dogs 9. Did you really expect anything else? To San Diego we go, where the Seals were in a win-and-in scenario. The game was a back-and-forth battle all night, and it looked like Albany might steal another one until Father Time himself, Ryan Benesh, started flying around, netting 2 quick goals. And then Wes Berg, the most clutch player this season, delivered once again, scoring 4 huge goals, including the game winner. Seals 11, Firewolves 10. San Diego is back in the playoffs. In Rochester, what was technically a meaningless game turned out to be one of the best of the weekend. Toronto's captain, Challen Rogers, scored 4 goals, while Troy Holochuk made 55 saves in a performance that sealed Rochester's fate, a playoff trip to Vancouver. Rock 11, Nighthawks 10. To somewhere near Atlanta we go, as Georgia was fighting for their lives against the 2-time defending champs. Q drops 4-4 in a comeback win as Georgia squeaks into the playoffs with a ton of momentum. Swarm 15, Bandits 11. The Wings headed to Vancouver and held Owen Grant and Christian Del Bianco to 0 points. Shane Simpson led the charge for Philly with 1 goal, while Mitch DeSnoo caused 3 turnovers. Vancouver is officially hosting a playoff game for the first time since Bob McMahon was in diapers. Tough loss for Philadelphia in their last game of the year. Warriors 11, Wings 5. To the Saddle Dome we go, where Calgary and Colorado were playing for their playoff lives. Curtis Superman Dixon scored 3 goals in the second quarter, including one of the year's most ridiculous plays. Rosie stopped the ones he needed to, and Calgary rolled past a tough Colorado team, ending their playoff hopes. Calgary's in the playoffs? Roughnecks 11, Mammoth 5. We wrap things up in Saskatoon, where Robert Church nets 6, officially ending Jeff Teat's playoffs hopes for another year. This guy needs some help in Ottawa. Brush 16, Black Bears 7. And that's your Week 21 recap.
That was good.
I was gonna say I haven't been here for all of them, but that's got to be up there.
Yeah, you said before that like you weren't feeling good about these ones.
Yeah, I felt weak. I don't know.
I thought
You liked it? It was good?
I like that. I actually think I liked that better than last week.
Oh, well, that's good. The Vancouver one I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, like I knew the first 2 parts, but when you said the Shane Simpson led the way with 1 goal.
I shouldn't be laughing right now.
Oh my God, Pace, you got back into the lineup for the first time in a few weeks. How do you feel?
Good. Yeah, excited to be back. It was I mean, we're in crunch time, and you kind of, I don't know, I think our culture in our sport is basically like you just play. Like when it comes and it matters most, you just strap it up and you figure out a way and you get your body as prepared as you can and you just try to help your team win. So that's kind of the scenario, the situation that we were in week 21 there. So, I'm happy to be back. The guys supported me coming back and allowed me to play sort of a role that I physically needed to play for my first game back. But, it was good.
Pretty crazy. Like I know, like coming back into the lineup in general after missing some time is probably pretty tough. But to go back into the lineup in more or less a playoff game, like that kind of environment, like if Colorado wins that game, essentially they're in. If you guys win, like you guys are in. That's essentially a playoff game. I would imagine like it must have been crazy for your body in general to be in that kind of an environment.
Yeah, I mean, we've been in crazy games before. We've talked a lot about what Calgary's sort of standard practice throughout a season is. It's like struggle, and then try to just squeak in at the very last minute. So it seems like every year we're in these types of games. And so, to be like mentally prepared for something like that, I think that's just years of experience. And then physically, it's like we've trained our bodies for essentially our whole lives to be able to get through things like that. So as much as it's like, oh, this means so much and it must be stressful or physically demanding, it's like, yeah, but not much more than what feels like every other game in a sense.
Dubs, you had something to say before.
I was just going to say, playing Halifax in the playoffs. Halifax got a home game. And they might have to watch, I think, episode 2, was it?
Can you give me a refresher of what we're talking about?
Yeah, Tyler basically, we're talking about teams and like who's like the contenders and pretenders.
They're a pretender.
Yeah, Tyler thought that maybe they didn't have steady enough goaltending.
I think Hill's a good goalie, but I think there are other goalies around the league who are far superior that are in potentially better situations than Halifax might be.
I hope Halifax gets you guys in playoffs.
Bulletin board rematch of the season opener
in Halifax.
In Halifax.
Maybe they play that in the arena before the game.
It's just gonna be that'll be our first time we get on the jumbotron or any and all exposure.
Tyler, thrilled that you're bringing this up.
No,
we don't forget.
Calgary also showed off their jerseys for next year. Pretty big deal. Red is coming back to the Calgary Roughnecks. What do we think? Mitch, did you get a chance to see these?
I haven't. Is the turf gonna be red again?
No, turquoise.
Okay.
Turquoise, WestJet blue with no WestJet sponsorship, and then partially red Roughnecks jersey. I don't know.
I'm sure.
I'm not sold, to say the least.
I think it'll look good.
The WestJet has to be sponsoring if they're using the teal turf. They're just like, we'll just block out the logos.
It's because we're building the new arena across the street, so we don't want to buy new turf until it's going to go in the new arena.
Yeah, I mean, that's only
Wouldn't
like
fit.
5 years away. Have you seen how long it takes to build arenas? It's like always like, we're going to do it for $990 million and it's only going to take 1 year, and then it's $1.5 billion and takes 5 years.
Playing in Vancouver this week, I'll say I forgot. You guys have the nicest turf in the league.
Yeah.
Fort
Worth, I think, had it, but they don't exist anymore. And I think Vancouver and Fort Worth had like the same type of turf. And there's like 2 types of turfs in the NLL. There's like the shitty AstroTurf, and then there's like the nice sort of grassy turf. And the grassy turf's much nicer, and everybody else is kind of junk.
Just to clarify, like you guys aren't talking about like the turf that like Ottawa and San Diego
No,
have.
it's not the tiles. It's rollout.
You're talking about the rollout.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is it just any organization where like the people that are putting it down remotely care about the way it goes down probably helps. Like it's pretty hard to get the turf up and down. I know for some of the teams, especially like Colorado, I know they do the kind of 2 a day where they have a Avs
Really
game
does
and
that a lot.
yeah, it's hard, right? I get that. But sometimes the turf goes down and they're just like, that's what it is. So you go out there, any other pro sport, you'd probably be like, this is like a safety hazard. But because in our league, there's not really guaranteed money and you're not paying people as much, they're like, I'm sure they'll figure it out.
When I first came in the league, every turf had the sewn-in ads, and now there's the flat. So the sewn-in ads are a disaster. Like it's a mogul in the middle of our 20 places. But
and then they take that out and just put a patch, and it was green. Rochester used to have that.
Yeah.
One last thing I will say, just on arenas in Vancouver, is the post-game meal this week. Haven't stopped talking about it because it's food related. But
That was good.
Oh, beef ribs. They were dinosaur bones. They were ginormous.
I've had that same meal from the same arena. Those are good. Those are best.
It's good
We
spread.
didn't get that this weekend. We got pizza.
Yeah, you guys got Pizza 73. You got chicken strips, Tyler? What'd they give you guys?
Those beef ribs they fed us one time is the first time I've ever had a beef rib. I didn't know that they are ginormous and they're unbelievable. Yeah.
No, but to bring back to the arena thing, the new turf in the arena, apparently the NHL has some sort of a rule where wherever like a team starts the season is where they have to like play the season. So or maybe it's the Flames just being like, if we're starting in the Saddle Dome, we're playing in the Saddle Dome. I don't know which it is, but basically there's like a promise from ownership that like the arena will be ready before the 2027 season. So we'll have the blue turf until then.
Construction's come a long way, Christian. They can.
Hopefully you're still there.
No comment. Just the look over. Okay, so I don't know how comfortable you two are going to be like talking about this because you guys are both in the playoffs. But so like Mitch, maybe you can chime in here a little bit because I would love to talk about like the series that we're going to see here for the first round because there's some pretty interesting matchups. Buffalo as the 1 seed, they're going to take on San Diego, who get in that 8 seed. A crazy game versus Albany. I don't know if you guys got a chance to watch that or not. Sask is going to take on Georgia. That's the 2 versus 7. Halifax versus Calgary. We already mentioned that. That's 3 versus 6. So it'll be in Halifax. And then Vancouver locks in their home playoff game versus Rochester. All those games will go down this coming weekend. Mitch, like of those 4, I mean, not series, of those 4 matchups, which one stands out to you the most? Like, is there one that seems more interesting than the rest?
They all seem pretty interesting. I mean, especially with it being one game in this league. I mean, I think at one point you looked at the standings, there was between 6 and 8 wins. There was like 9 teams or whatever. So I'd say all of them. I think, who's Buffalo playing?
Buffalo is playing San Diego.
I mean, that's a pretty interesting one. Obviously, San Diego is a team that for the last few years has had pretty high expectations. Had a slow start this year, but have finished pretty strong and have a lot of weapons on that team. I think that's one to obviously watch. Like the Vancouver-Rochester matchup, I think it's kind of a clash of styles. Obviously, Vancouver has a very good defense, an average goalie that can heat up sometimes.
Got him.
And smoked him. And Rochester has what I think is a very good offense. They got a lot of guys out there who are dangerous weapons. So that's a kind of an interesting matchup to kind of strength on strength to watch. Yeah, I'd say those are kind of my 2 that I'll definitely be tuning into.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Like the Buffalo San Diego one, I'm really excited about. Like I think any of the lower seeds I could see any of them like upsetting. But San Diego feels like a team that like they could very well get hot at the right time. And I think they had a very emotional win versus Albany to kind of secure their fate into the postseason. I think that's really cool. And the Vancouver Rochester one, I almost wish this was in round 2 because these were 2 of the hottest teams come the end of the year. I know Rochester lost their last game of the year, but it kind of sucks that the 2 teams that were on like 5 and 6 game winning streaks are going to be like one of them is going to be done after round 1. But yeah, some really interesting matchups. With it being the end of the year, it is now like the year end awards are being voted on. The emails were making their rounds. I don't know if you guys would even have a take into any of this stuff. I don't even know if you guys know how it works. Like just going through it today, like I think the way that the voting on it works, I think is so stupid. Like it's this Survey Monkey thing, and it's just like a big list of people. And so it's very
vote.
I got a vote. Like, and I'm super excited that I got a vote. Like, this is my 3rd year in a row getting one. But I just think the way that it works is.
Did you vote for yourself for the Borelli or?
No, I'm not. I'm not on that list. But there are some people on that list that have no business being on that list.
Where's Adam Levy on that list? Is he on there?
He's not on the list.
He's not?
Yeah. Yeah. He was live tweeting the I think maybe in like a petty way was like live tweeting all the nominations. It was pretty funny, but yeah, just
he was leaking it before they were out too. Yeah, he's just Frixodamus.
But like the big thing that I left after that, after like seeing all the nominations, Zach Courier wasn't an option to vote for MVP. And I think he should very much be in the running with how much he's contributed to San Diego. I know like Cooper Perkins made a really good argument for Westberg to be the MVP and very convincing. Like I would also consider Westberg up there, but just with what was asked of Zach this year and how he's thrived in that role, I think it's insane that he wasn't even an option to vote for for league MVP. I don't know if you guys want to chime in or not, but
I feel like there was a lot of options.
Totally, there were.
There's a lot of people.
Totally. I just if it's just like one big list of people, like what's putting one more person on this list? You know what I mean? Like you couldn't even vote for him. He wasn't an option to vote for.
Yeah. How do they determine that list?
From what I understand, I think teams have to nominate like one or two options.
Nominate.
Yeah. Like when it comes to NLL, it's always going to be kind of flawed. I mean, I'm I'm a guy who watches a ton of lacrosse during the season, but I'm watching maybe 20% of the games. Like, I obviously watch our games. I watch the teams we're going to play next. It's pretty tough with all the games being at the exact same time to watch every NLL game and have a good gauge of who's week in, week out being that MVP. That's kind of my opinion. Obviously, you play against guys and have past experiences and maybe have your thoughts, but I think it's a pretty tough ask for someone to kind of evaluate that NLL and narrow it down to like who's the MVP or goal of the year when you're not watching everyone.
I think rather than narrowing down the list, we need to narrow down the voters.
Yeah, get rid of my
Like
vote.
how to like respectfully, you know, like you having a vote versus like having like all coaches or like say like they select 5 random players from every team or something to vote on it, that kind of thing.
I think the problem with having like coaches vote is that they're I think there's a worry that they're going to be biased towards their own guys that are on the list, and maybe, you know,
and then you do like you can't vote for your own guys, and then all of a sudden they have like some 4th line D guy just getting all the votes. They're tanking it just so their guy can win.
Yeah. Anything to add? No? Okay. I got one more thing that I want to get into here to kind of close out the show, unless you guys have anything else, Mitch, or I don't know if you guys have any debates that you want to go off, but if not,
is there an unsung hero award?
no, I think that's usually just like a team thing.
The NLLPA might do that award.
Is there teammate of the year again?
Teammate of the year?
I don't think so.
There NLLPA as well. No,
there's like a sportsmanship award that I think Lyle has gotten.
Yeah,
it's just going to be named after him eventually.
The Lyle Thompson Award.
Yeah. Do you got any debates to fire off the top of your head here, or no?
Oh no, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
No. It was Easter this weekend.
You're just racking your brain. Right
Yeah, I'm just thinking about my weekend and what happened.
tell us about it.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh well, so Dane, there was a few of us that weren't playing in the Friday game that were playing in the Saturday game, and the hotel that we stay at in Calgary, like they gave us one of the rooms that has a suite, and it's like there's 2 TVs, so we could watch the Albany San Diego game and our Calgary versus Vegas game. So we're watching that, and it was like kind of smooth sailing for Calgary for a majority of the game, and then the second half, like Vegas started clawing back. For the first part of the game, Dobes was like kind of relaxing, like eating his Cactus Club. There was a couple desserts on the table. He had a couple of those. And then the Albany San Diego game started getting like close. They're trading goals back and forth. It's like, oh, Albany's winning, San Diego's winning, Albany's winning. Oh, and then Westberg wins the game. And then our game was like 10-9, video review, no goal, and then it's 10-9 again. So Dane is no longer sitting. He's up, like the TVs are like on the wall basically. So you have to kind of like go into the room and then like go back to the living room. He's like pacing back and forth, like running back and forth, and everybody else that's in the room is like trying to just like look around Dane to watch the TV. So that was a fun little thing with Dane being stressed out and not being able to sit still, but doesn't really add to our conversation at all.
we had a Friday dinner, so we're watching the same game, and obviously we want Calgary to lose. That was one of the things that would have helped us. And like you said, it would have
gave your 3% chance.
Yeah, would have bumped us up. Hey, we're watching, and we're out for dinner, and Mitch Armstrong has the game on his phone here, and then Chris Corbeil has his phone at the end of the table. And Corbs is like 45 seconds behind, but he's like really invested. Like he's yelling at us, like he's like power play Vegas. Like we didn't have the heart to tell him like we're because
it's already over.
It's already over. So like that was pretty funny for us to. And obviously we're like you said, it's a 3% chance. So we're watching, but I mean we're not like it's not do or die for us. It's like this is a hope and a prayer. But it was funny and nice to see him like he was fully invested, but we didn't have the heart to tell him like. We already know what happened.
I can also confirm that Josh Dawick has been called the Prez on a broadcast now. Pat Gregoire broke it out.
That's hell yeah.
I guess Team Austria heard about this thing, and they like reached out to Ethan, and they're like, "Are they actually calling this guy the president?" He's like, "I don't know. I think so." They started making like shirts with Josh Dawick's face on it, the president.
We have to get some of those.
Yeah, we got to get some of those.
We got to hang those on the back wall.
Have we gotten a quote from him yet? If he likes it, doesn't like it.
No,
Like,
we have to talk to his people. Like, I don't think we get direct contact.
okay, yeah.
We have to like call Chris Boucher or something, and then Boucher will ask him the question for us.
That's so funny.
You guys aren't up for the Borelli, are you?
No.
As a podcast.
Like, I thought that was something that I maybe could get this year, but didn't get it. Didn't make the short list. Me and Tino, we both got snubbed.
Don't stop trying.
Yeah.
Not in the running for goalie of the year, but for 10 weeks of podcasting, you're
Yeah.
in the running for
10
Borelli.
podcast episode and a bunch of stupid tweets. I thought that would be
You
enough.
got to do 18 podcasts to be in the running.
Yeah. People don't like when you tell them water's wet, I guess.
Okay, and then just to close out the show, like a little bit more of a serious topic, but there's a GoFundMe that's been made recently for Cody Jameson's son Konnor, and just to kind of give everybody the lowdown, I'm sort of giving like the Coles Notes version, but we can link to the GoFundMe in the description. So if people want to check it out, if they want to donate, that'd be I'm sure greatly appreciated. So last July, Cody Jameson's son Konnor, who's 14 years old, was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, which is a rare and aggressive form of bone cancer. While they were doing chemo, despite all of that, in November, they were handed the news that amputation was the last remaining option. So, of course, they decided to go through with it. It's a 15-hour surgery, very intensive, happened in December. Connor's already back at school, which is pretty incredible, and he's completed all of his chemo treatments earlier this month, actually, earlier in April. Connor's an athlete, so they want to get him it's called an elite running prosthetic, I guess. As well, they want to get him a swimming prosthetic. So, as you can imagine, not everything in this case is covered, and there's additional costs for all of this stuff: travel, rehab, and potentially needing to get any modifications to their home to be able to make that experience a little bit more easier. So there's a GoFundMe link, as mentioned. Currently, they've raised $43,000, which is pretty incredible. They're 86% of the way to the goal. Their goal was $50K. Obviously, if they're able to, get over that, that's huge. But they're pretty close to their goal as we speak. So if there's anybody listening to this that hasn't heard about this or anything like that, and you have the funds to be able to contribute anything, of course, anything is appreciated, but and anything will go a long way. So just wanted to get that out to our listeners and viewers as well, and see if we can contribute anything to help make that process any easier, if possible, for Konnor, because obviously that's going to be a pretty tough journey. But it sounds like spirits are pretty high for him and his family, and just wanted to get that out there to our listeners.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for doing that. That's a good cause and obviously a sad situation. So we just, lacrosse community is very tight knit, and I think people will jump on board and find a way to support this if they can.
Yeah. All right. Mitch Jones, thanks for joining us on Morning Shoot Around. Apologies for the technical difficulties that we had to battle through. I mean, I guess it was just these two that had to battle through it. I mean, I hopefully it was still comfortable for you, but
Yeah.
The late night shoot around, the 8:30 podcast started at 9:30.
Yeah, exactly. And Tino won't be getting a teammate of the year. Refused. Only guy who didn't once offer to give up his mic. Jonesy said, we can share. Tyler too. Tino's like, well, I have my mic. I'm far over here.
I offered up for him to share his mic, and he
the picture that you've painted of me now is like being a guy with a ton of bumper stickers on my car.
Yeah.
Like
but I've complimented
ton of
great
laptop
suits though. Good suits, great suits. I've
feel-
complimented you too, Tino.
like 1 week I'll
You
just
just choose to find the negatives, just like the NLL. You choose to find the negatives.
That might be the most bumper stickers on a laptop I've seen in a while too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
Okay, we're not supposed to bully him. We're supposed to ask him about himself. And
Oh, Christ. All right. We can end this. Mitch, thanks for coming on. Excited to see what you can cook up here with the bellies this coming summer. Excited to see what you can put together as another teammate of Tyler Pace for your second straight season of summer ball. Anything else to close out on here, fellas? No. Cool. All right. Thanks to the viewers and the listeners for joining us. Another episode of Morning Shoot Around. Thank you to our sponsors, the Performance Center, as well as X-Treme Threads. Thank you for sticking around with us for 10 whole episodes. We are officially into the double digits, which is pretty cool. And as always, we will see you next time.
Thanks, guys.